and we're going to be building on that session tonight. So this section tonight is going to be relaxing. I'm not going to be shouting on you. My wife says that I shout when I make presentations. So I'm trying as much as possible to be calm so I don't shout on you. But please try to make sure that you understand what I'm saying, because I feel like if I don't shout very well, you will not understand the gravity of what I want to say. Okay. So I want to bring my voice down and let's have a very cool, calm discussion tonight. All right. So if you don't want me to shout on you, please can someone help us do a recap of what we discussed last week, please? If Please can someone help us do a recap of what you learned, what you took away last week, because we're building on what we discussed last week. Last week um we talked about clarity. We were trying to answer the question, what should I do with my life? And today we want to talk about having no, because I want to believe that you have a foundational understanding, a framework, a take-home framework of what you can do to make the most of your life. What you can do with your life. So we believe we have that foundational framework. So today we want to build on that. I want to like zoom in into how do I make the most of my life? Having known what to do with my life, how do I make the most of it? So that's what we are going to be focusing on this evening. So, but we need someone to help us take us back the memory lane. Give me a second, please. To take us back the memory lane to kind of refresh our brain of what we discussed last week. So, who is going? I want to be seeing hands up already. Don't worry, don't need to show your face. Fine. I like seeing my face in videos because I'm a handsome person. And so if you know you're not as handsome as I am, don't bother. Just don't be intimidated. Just keep your face and just let's hear your voice. I know a lot of you have better voice than I am and good accent. Some of you are already picking Igala accent from what I see. So well, I can't have everything. So who is helping us to do a recap of last week? Do you want me to call names? Emmanuel, good evening. Emmanuel has been here from around when? Like almost 20 minutes to Emmanuel has been. Emmanuel, are you there? He has disappeared. Has he? Oh, he has disappeared. Please, who is helping us to do a recap of our last meeting? That's the question for those that are just joining. Emmanuel, are you there? I can see your back already. Gift, are you saying something? Queen Gift, are you saying something? My God, what's happening? Guys, give us a recap of what we discussed last week. That's the question. Dami,
Yeah,
Dami, can you hear me?
yeah, I can hear you.
What's happening to your people? Why are they
I
following
can
your hand?
go for my handle.
They're already following your hand. In fact, your hand has been falling already, Seth.
You guys should chat. Okay, I can see 5 people chatting. Let me see what. Because me, I'm just getting no more. Good
There's
evening.
nothing in the chat. They are saying good evening, sir.
Uh-uh.
When I'm asking important question, you're greeting me.
Okay.
Okay, let me pick as the spirit leads. Um, Kehinde Koka, how are you? Okay. Kehinde, how are you? I'll call another lady again. Miriam, good evening. How are you doing? Daniel, will you bail us out? That is Daniel E. Odo.
Good evening, sir. Please confirm you can hear me.
Loud and clear.
All right. So I believe at the last class we did a recap first concerning the intelligence system, but then we linked it to the major discourse for that day, which was about life being the most important intelligence system. Then we got to learn about the five seeds of life. I don't know if I'm putting it correctly, but five seeds of life. That's the acronym for it on that particular day was RAINS. So we linked it being an intelligent system, saying life is an intelligent system because it works on systems which dwell on the five seeds of life. So for R, we said resources, and that's basically everything we need to achieve the things in life. The reason we keep learning every day. So the things we learn, the things we use to get what we want from life. Then energy, I believe, not I think, energy has to do with the workforce, the strength and passion you put into that particular thing you want to do. That's my understanding of it. Then N to me was network. The persons you have to meet to learn those things, to achieve those things you want to do in life, to grow and become that person you aim to be. That's for N. 40, we said time, and that's the time you need to work with to get to where you want to be. So the reason to set goals and work with them to get where you want to be. Then for S, that's skills, the skills you have to learn because yes, you want to do things, you want to become things, but you need to learn some skills which are very paramount to get to those particular places. So those
Morning
were
in
like
progress.
five pillars of life, the five seeds of life we got to learn on that particular day. So RAINS, that was the acronym. So that's what I can remember from the last lecture.
Wow. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that insight. If I were to give you a score or mark you, I think I'll give you a 70 for that recap. That's an A. Um, I don't know why you refuse to volunteer to speak when you know that you know what to say. I hope that's not what you do in real life. Because yeah, I hope that's not what you do in real life. Let me not go deep into that. But the thing is, about in life, you need to take every opportunity you have to to showcase what you are capable of doing. You don't need to go through life diminishing yourself because of what people may think or because of the fact that you don't want to be seen as someone who like okay, maybe ITK people use the word ITK. Remember what we are talking about, what we've been talking about since the beginning of this program is how to stand out. And the thing is that you cannot stand out if you're hiding what you're capable of doing. Cannot stand out if you're hiding what you know. So I believe to by now we might have already established that fact. But it's surprising that I had to call on you before you speak up. I know I understand that big part of what we come from, we we want to be modest, so to say. But in this case, this is not modesty. Um, this is not humility. Okay. But thank you so much for that wonderful recap. I think you helped us to do justice to what we are going to do today because you provide a foundation. Before we proceed, do you think anyone else have, or do anyone else have something to add to it that was not mentioned? Anybody? Okay, thank you. Is there anybody that wants to add something that was not mentioned? Now, this question I'm asking is to also kind of grade myself to see if I have done justice to the discussion, if what I say sticks with you, and if you can remember. If you can't remember, that means I've done a very poor job. That's it. So please help me evaluate myself. because there are other key things we discussed. Now, what Daniel mentioned are like the foundation of our discussion, but I want someone to hint on the core things we talked about last week. How many are you? How many are we on this call? Let me check. As at now, we are about 20. It's about 25 of us. Are we saying all the 25 of us were not around last week? That's only Daniel was around. Okay, I'll still call names. Olajumoke, are you able to speak?
Good evening, sir. Good
Good
evening,
evening.
everyone. So I'm actually able to speak, but truthfully, I was not around for the last session. So that's the only reason I've not been able to talk since you started asking the
That's
question.
that's fair enough. That's fair
Thank you,
enough.
sir.
It's okay. Bidemi Abajimito, if I get that correctly. Are you able to speak?
Good evening,
Okay.
sir.
Good evening.
Okay, I wasn't available for the last
Really? Okay,
yes.
let's do a quick one. Who was available? If you know you're available in the last class, raise your hand. Okay, Stephen. Ha, because if you're not available in the last class, then what we're going to discuss tonight is going to be. I hope you take time to read through it because it's very important. Ah, that's serious. Okay, so I'm seeing hands. I'm seeing Stephen. I'm seeing Onyedika. Okay, Stephen, are you able to give a recap or to speak to the core part of what we talked about in the last lesson?
Yes, sir. Good evening, sir. Good
Good
evening,
evening.
everyone. I hope you can all hear me.
Loud and
All right.
clear.
So, one thing that we discussed again was about we discussed about the five functions of life, which Daniel has mentioned, and we also later talked about different ways to make contribution. We talked about the vocation, the profession, and the mission. We talked about how that the vocation is what pays our bills, and the profession is what we are trained to do, and the mission is what we are called to do. And he actually explained to us that mission never changed. Mission does not change, and we also talked about the fact that our roads are not the same. It's not actually stereotyped. So we have different way we can actually get to that place we are called to do. And we also talked about how that our seasons of life are different. Like the seasons that we might not know where we are going in the next few years, but we should actually maximize the season of our lives. So that is things that I can actually recall, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I think that's another layer of information for those that were not around. Okay, thank you so much, Stephen. Who can talk about the passion? Okay, I've hinted it already. Who can talk about that? Start with the passion. Who can talk about that? Anybody who was around last week that can talk about the framework to understanding what you are supposed to contribute so that you can get the reward. Because we last week, the last time we met, we spoke about the fact that life is about reward and contribution. Life is about reward and contribution, and that at any given point in your life, you are either making contribution or you are getting reward from the contribution you make. And we talked about how you can make contribution with your life, and we introduced a framework that starts with passion. Can anyone remember that?
Yes, sir. Good
Okay,
evening, sir.
good evening, Onyedika. Thank you. Please bail us out. Remind us
Yes,
quickly.
You gave us three ways to understand contribution, which were the talent, the burden, and the passion. So you told us that talents are our natural gifts and strengths, those things we can do better and than most people without stress. Yes, something like that. And you also told us about passion. Passions are those things that excite us, that motivates us. And you say that there are things we do for free, even when we need to be paid. And you said you talked about boarding. Boardings are things we feel responsible for. And you
Wow.
also told us how to make contributions through vocation, profession, and mission. And last week you gave us your nasus, your TBS nasus. That was the part that got me. So these are my little contributions, sir.
Thank you, Onyedika. Thank you so much. You've done that. You've done that. So, for those that were not around last week, I think they have done a very good job refreshing your brain. Please go back to that video to watch it if you have not. Please, I recommend it. And so we started by talking about that life is an intelligent system. We mentioned the fact that life is the most sophisticated intelligent system. And the most sophisticated intelligent system because it is made up of components. And then we talked about how you can make use of that component. And then we talked about how that life is about reward and contribution. Oh, the video has not been uploaded yet. I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry about that. Okay, so then we talked about then we talked about the PTB nexus, your passion, talent, and body nexus. And if you are able to bring them together, it speaks to your mission. And we also talked about that clarity is not what you sit down and think into it. It's what you walk into it. You walk into clarity. You need to start working with before you can get clarity. It's not something you say, okay, I want to figure out my life first before I start acting. It doesn't work that way. It's when you start working, it's in the process of working that you begin to discover so there are a lot of potentials you have. There are passions that you have that you don't even know that you're passionate about them because you don't even know they exist, right? So so we talked about that you should be more obsessed with action. You should be more obsessed with what can I do right now? What am I able to do right now? And then as you begin to do that along the way, what you want or what you're supposed to do with your life become clearer and clearer. And then we talked about so these are a lot of things that we talked about last week. So let's go to today's discussion. And today, what we want to talk about is we want to answer a simple question. How do I make the most of my life? It's still anchored on that discussion from last week. So let me see. Okay, cancel. Can you guys all see my screen, please? Brilliant. So that's the making the most of your life, and then why is it not working? Great. So life is a function of five things. A recap again. Number one, your resource, what you own. Your resource is what you own, your properties, your money, whatever it is that is your own, your bag, what you own that is tangible. It's your resource. Energy, what the strength you have. And we talked about there are two of them. We have the biological energy and the emotional energy. The biological energy is the ATP. That is the strength you carry, ability to do work and all. And then the emotional energies, it has to do with your emotions, emotional intelligence. And they are also all of them are very important. I don't want to go deep into that. The network is the people you know. You put everybody that you have come across in your life, the people you know and knows you anyway. I think that's the correct definition. The people you know and knows you. Not about the people. It's not just the people you know. There are people you know that you cannot access. Yeah, most of us know Tinubu, but not all of us can really access him. So you can't say that Tinubu is actually in your network, right? So it's the people you know that knows you. That's your network, and then the time, and these are the periods and the season that you have to work with, and the skills is what you can do. So what you own, what you can do, the strength you can use to do that, the people you know that can help you do that, and the time or the period and the seasons you have to do those things. That's if you look at your life critically, that's all what your life entails. So tonight we want to talk about we want to zoom in into life a little bit. So I mentioned in passing, but we didn't go deeper last week, that when we talk about timing, we can look at time from two perspectives. And this is actually coming from the Greek word that is refers to as time. The first one is the chronos, and the second one is the kairos. The chronos is the chronological time, is the time that can be measured. Okay, this time is the seconds, the years, the months, the weeks, the centuries, the days. These are all chronological time. Okay, and the focus of the chronological time is it measures duration. It is the distance between here and there. Okay, the distance between here and there. Someone said the difference between here and there is t, and that t talks about time. So where you are now is here. Where you want to be is there. So what it takes to from where you are to where you want to be, the gap between them is the time, is the period, and that time is what is also refers to as. So when we talk about duration, we're talking about the chronological time. That's chronos. So the key questions that the chronological time answers is: what time is it? What year is it? What century are we? What month are we? Okay, what millennia are we in? So that's chronos. I think that's clear enough. Now, but the second and the important part of the time that we mostly don't talk about is what I called, or what not what I called, what the Greek called the kairos. Now, the kairos speaks to season. It speaks to season, but it's deeper than season, but that's the best word to capture it. Ecclesiastes chapter, book of Ecclesiastes, if a Christian talks about, he said there's time under the sun, there is time and there is season for everything. So there is a duration, there's a chronos, and there's a season. And the key context about kairos is the fact that it's an opportune season. You've most likely have had the phrase opportunity come but once. What they're trying to tell you is that your kairos come sometimes but once. There are some kairos that wouldn't repeat themselves. And I remember giving an example last time we met, that the thing is that while you were on campus, it's a kairos. That's a season of your life. If you're still on campus, that's a season of your life. While you were on campus, that's a season of your life. Now, there is nothing that can happen that you can take that if you miss the opportunities of what you're supposed to have learned or what you're supposed to have done while you were on campus and you didn't do them, and you wasted your chronos in your kairos, because in every kairos there's a chronos. Okay, I don't want to speak big grammars. What I'm trying to say in essence is that in every season to making the most of your season, you will need to take advantage of the time. Okay, to making the most of the chronos, you need to take the advantage. To making the most of the kairos, you need to take advantage of the chronos. So if you wasted your chronos during your kairos time on campus, you will discover that time may never come back again. Yeah, you may catch up later, but the thing is that instead of you to have gone higher, you are not going back to learn what you're supposed to have learned while you're on campus. So that's why the kairos period is a very strategic. That's why I call it is a strategic timing. And if you must learn how to make the most of your life, you must learn how to make, first of all, learn how to identify what season of my life am I in. Okay? What season of my life am I in? Now, I wrote here that a person can succeed in Kairos, but in Chronos, but yet fail in Kairos. Why? Because you can grow older without getting wiser. Okay, so you can celebrate your birthdays, which is actually Chronos, but in real essence, if you look at your Kairos, there's nothing to celebrate because you just added a whole year to your life, but you just grew older. Well, you cannot tell if you have made use of that 1 year of your life that you are celebrating. Okay, so that's why I want us to zoom in on time, because now that is important, because how you make use of Kairos will go a long way to tell how you maximize other components of your life. I repeat, how understanding your Kairos will position you to maximize your resources, position you to maximize your energy, will position you to maximize your skill set, and will position you to maximize the network of the people you build. So when Kairos comes to you, it comes to you with opportunities to make contributions with those 5 components, with other 4 components. So understand, not just other 4, or even all the 5 components, because even in Kairos there is Chronos. So in your Kairos, you need to learn how to make the most of all the 5 components of your life, all the 5 functions of your life. Okay, and it speaks about, it's not about the years that is passing. It speaks to the moment in action, the moments that matters most. It's like doing the right thing. When they say doing the right thing at the right time, the time there is not talking about Chronos. The time there is talking about Kairos. Because you can be doing the right thing, but if you do it at the wrong time, it cannot be as effective as doing it when you are within the season of the time that you should be doing it. Okay. And the importance of Chronos is not just to calculate duration, it speaks to action, it's focus action. So Chronos answers what should be done at this time. What should be done at this time? And men and brethren, I want you to understand that if you are able to answer that question, what should I do at this time? You'll be able to make the most of your life. Now there are different seasons in every man's life. There are different seasons in every man's life. But I want us to talk about the 3 most these 3 Kairos that we all share together. Now, who spoke about Kairos? When he mentioned something that our season differs. We could be at the same age, but could be at different season of our life. So it doesn't matter the fact that we are both 22, we are both 30. We may not be in the same Kairos, because Kairos is specific to you. It's left for you to understand the kind of Kairos that you're in. I don't know if anybody have noticed. There is a point, there are periods in your life that it looks like whatever you do, it just clicks. I don't know if anybody have noticed that. You just get these opportunities come back to back, and it used to happen to me. Opportunities come back to back at once. This one is calling me to do this, and that person calling me to do, and that person calling me to do this, and it looks like, and then at some point I look at my life like nobody's calling me to do anything. Now, these are Kairos. These are Cairo moments. A wise person will begin to understand that moment and ask the question, God, what would you have me do now? God, well, there was a point, I think there was a particular year of my life, back to back. I was having fellowship opportunity. I was traveling outside the country, back to back. I was like, at that point, I had to pause. God, what's happening here? What do you want? What actually are you asking? Are you trying to get me to do this time? So what I'm trying to emphasize is that we have different Kairos moments. It's left for you to understand what your Kairos moment is. I can't know what your Kairos moments are. But if you can understand your Kairos moment, if you can understand to some people, if you are very sensitive, there are particular periods of the year that your life is most effective. And it's not just about effectiveness. It's also, if you're a spiritual person, you notice. Now, there was a period, there was time in my life for 3 consecutive years. Towards the end of the year, I'll become broke. Like, I don't know if you're like, I may have money, have a lot of, but towards the end of the year, something will happen. My money is gonna become broke for 3 consecutive years. So I begin to like, what's happening? So I had to then go back to my to whatever whatever I do with my life. And I said, no, this cannot be. I cannot start the year good and then end the year empty-handed. It doesn't, that's not a good cycle to be in. Okay, so that's an understanding of Kairos as well, because even the kingdom of the kingdom of darkness understand Kairos, right? So they will assign Kairos to you, and if you're a very sensitive person, you know when to begin to tackle that. Of course, that's about that. I'm not preaching, but I just want to establish that you need to understand what your Kairos moments are. Okay, you need to understand what those Kairos moments are, and they are not difficult to understand. You just need to understand. Ask some basic question about what your life currently is. Okay, but every person, every man has these 3 different Kairos in their life, and those acronyms add up to man. You might have heard it before: your morning, your afternoon, and your night. Now, your morning talks about your youth. Okay, I want to believe that most of us are either in the morning or in the afternoon stage of our life. We don't have anybody in the night yet. And trust me, Bible is such a complete book. Because the scripture was talking about, it said, walk while it is yet day, for night cometh when no man can walk. For night cometh when no man can walk. So the night time of your life is not designed to walk. It's designed to be the rest time of you, the time for you to rest. But the thing is that if you don't make use of your morning and your afternoon very well, you'll still be working at night. You'll still be working at the night time of your life, and that's not the design. That's not God's original design for your life. So your morning talks about the childhood, to your youth. That's your morning. And we're gonna look at it in details. Your afternoon is the adulthood to midlife. Now, at this point is the peak of production. The morning, one of the key things about morning is that it is the time for discovery, it's the time for capacity building. Okay, it's a time for discovery, it's time for learning, it's time for skilling, it's a time for capacity building. Afternoon is where the real production starts. You now start applying what you have studied, what you have learned, what you have gathered, what you have identified yourself. That's why if you are in the morning phase of your life, you need to pay attention to yourself. If God has helped you that you are identify yourself very early in the morning stage of your life, you are going to speed up as fast as possible. Okay, and the night time is like the time for reflection, the time for legacy, the time for wisdom. At this point, you are resting and building on what you have done. So everybody has these 3 kairos. Everybody. Now, these are not chronos; these are kairos in the sense of it. So you need to identify what part of kairos am I in right now. Am I still in my morning? Am I still in my afternoon? Or am I still in my night? Again, it has nothing to do with age. You can be in our 20s, and while I'm still in my morning, you're already in your own afternoon, right? But so it has really nothing to do with age. Some people retire at 40. Some people get their first jobs at 40. It's still the world we're living in, right? Okay. Some people retire. So some people get married at 20. Others got married at 50. So it all boils down to identifying the kind of kairos you are in at the moment. Now, if you are to dive deeper, your morning phase is, with respect to energy, your morning phase comes with boundless energy. It comes with a whole lot of energy. You're going to see that. Okay, the morning phase is like the sunrise. Is the number one? It's the time of formation. Don't forget, morning represents time of formation. That's where you start forming your identity. You start forming yourself. You start discovering yourself. You start you start building up. And what are you forming in your morning stage? Nothing else. You are forming those 5 components of your life. That's the period you start forming networks. That's when you start you know become selective of who you relate with, who the person that is not going to where you are going is, so that's when you start discovering your friends. That's your morning phase of your life. That's where you start forming skill set. What kind of skill set what kind of character should I be building at this point of my life? What kind of person should I become? That's when you start defining them. Now, I believe that God is going to bless all of us with children. For some of us who doesn't have one now at this different point of our life. Now, your parents at this point also contribute a lot, and that's why you need to understand it as well, so that you can help position your child to actually form well at this stage. Now, that is also the stage of identity discovery, and that's why I tell people that if you are fortunate enough to have find Christ in this point of your life, you'll discover that your journey will not be as difficult as other people, because you begin to there's a unique identity discovery that comes at this stage. Key things, that's the point for skill acquisition. The morning stage is the point for skill acquisition. See, I know you can still acquire skill at your 40, at your 70, but these are not the norms. These are not the norms. It's expected that you focus your attention to building skills at this point. What you want to do at this point is to build capacity, and that is the premise upon which this program is developed, the capacity building network. And that's why we are deliberate about the age bracket we bring in. It's not because we don't believe in the older people, but we believe that the people within the age bracket are the people that are supposed to learn what we are giving them at this point. Okay, so don't forget formation, identity discovery, skill acquisition. Thank God you're in this class. We've talked about clarity, we've talked about identity discovery in the last session. When the time comes to upload it, you watch it again and again, or I can even share the slide with you to go through the slide and get acquainted to it. But these are the things you do at this point of your life. Now, there are key things you need to know about your morning phase. Number one, at this phase of your life, you are at the peak of learning. You get to learn very fast. You pick up things very fast. It's like what example should I give now? It's like somebody that is writing on a board. When you come to the board, a white clean slate board, and you start writing, there is enough space to write anything to take it. So that's why you need to be careful what kind of things you learn at this point of your life. Because if you use this time to learn things that are not meaningful to your life, remember we talked about that an intelligent system learns, and then from that learning it provides feedback and then improves. So if you focus your attention on learning what does not contribute directly to where you want to be at this point of your life, you discover that you waste a whole lot of your kairos on things that are not necessary. And that's why this is the point of your life. You need to sit down and cherry pick. Somebody say, sit down and pick like as if like a beans, and pick the kind of people you follow on social media. I will say it again and again. In 21st century, if you think that social media has no influence on your life, you lie. You lie. Most of the culture we are building, most of the mindset we are building is formed from social media, because we spend more time online than we spend on anything else. Whether you like it or not, that's the truth. You spend more time online than we spend on anything else. And where you spend your time, you begin to resemble those things that you are picking up from there. Remember, we said that everybody is learning. There is no point of your life you're not learning, but it's not everybody that is intentionally learning. So you need to be intentional at what you learn in the formation stage of your life, in the morning stage of your life, because you possess the highest capacity, high learning capacity at this point, and you are extremely flexible at this point. You can quickly change your mind at this point because you can see things from different perspectives. So, so these are some of the key things that you're supposed to know in your morning. Now, again, what do you do in the morning? The key word is in the morning's time, you prepare. You need to invest in preparation over comfort. Now, I need to settle down and I need to say this. I'll try not to shout, but I need to say so I can enter your head. In the morning, your preparation should come over comfort. Okay? Yes, they say sleep 8 hours in a day, 10 hours in a day. Yes, I believe that. But the thing is that if you feel sleeping 10 hours in a day, excuse me. Now, it's not all of us that have the luxury of sleeping 10 hours in a day or 8 hours in a day and still make the best use of our money. There are some of us that in your morning time that is supposed to be the time for preparation is still the same time that you are supposed to use to make money because your parents have not because you have to fend for yourself, you have to pay your school fees. Now, that's not an excuse. So if you feel you need to do twice to catch up, you need to. Because if you miss that opportunity, you still continue to struggle for the rest of your life. And God forbid, your children will also continue to struggle the way your parents struggled. So what you need to remember in the morning time is that you need to pay more attention to preparation over comfort. Your comfort come less. Your comfort come less. Don't forget. Nobody grows in the comfort zone. A butterfly larva must break out from its cocoon to become a butterfly. The seed must break from the soil and pull out its head and germinate to become a tree. Now, this is a period of preparation. So be less concerned with comfort. This is not the time to start thinking about the latest car to ride. This is not the time to start talking about the latest shoes to wear. If you can afford them seamlessly, but not at the expense of preparation, please go ahead. But if you can't, this is the time to delay gratification. Okay, so the danger of the morning time is most of the time people waste time without investing in preparation. Because they have high energy. Because they have high energy, what happened? See, what happened in your morning time is you have a whole lot of energy. And one thing with energy is that energy cannot be conserved. It has to be expended. Okay, that's why if you conserve energy so much, what happened? It burns off that thing up where you are. That's why energies are the current form of energy is the most useful form, because current means it's in emotion. Current, it's flowing. So in your morning time, you have a whole lot of energy. We're going to show you that quadrant later. You have a whole lot of energy in your morning time, and you want to channel this energy in something else. So if you're not investing your energy on what is meaningful to you, you are definitely going to expend it on what is not meaningful. So if you're not investing it in preparation, you invest it in comfort. Okay. So this is the time to build the foundation. I've talked about that. I don't want to talk about that, flog that so much. Now, what happens in your afternoon time? Now, in the afternoon time is the performance time. Morning is preparation, afternoon is performance. Okay, it represents the peak of production. Now, this is where you now start deploying the skills you have gathered. This is when you now start deploying, you now start working in the identity you have identified. I mean, in the identity you have clarified. Now, this is the time you start investing on contribution and reward. the rate of contribution and reward at this point, it's almost equal. That's when resources start coming to you. You start building up resources. You spend less energy at this point because you already have people in your network to help you do some things. Okay, you have built network around this time, and there are people that can help you do something. So you don't get to spend all the expend all the energy, but this is the point of your peak production. Okay, so it's a phase that is execution, very career. This is when you start building your career. Okay, we have talked about career building. You were part of that. You were the part of that process. Now, this point, you need to start focusing on you. At this point, you should have a vocation or a profession or both of them. Okay, you should be trained to do something. There should be something that you are trained to do. And we're going to talk about that. I hope you guys read the I want to believe that you read the article I sent earlier because that's where we're going to talk about. Please remind me if I don't touch it. So this is the point that you start talking about you start building a vocation, and then your vocation changes. Okay, but you at this point, by all means, you should be making money. If you don't make money at this point, again, it's nobody's fault. That's the truth. You should be gathering resources. You should be having assets. You should be having investments. You should learn how to be financially, how to start managing your money, how to start managing people, how to start managing your emotions. Thank God we covered all these things in GMP. Go back to those things and listen to them. You need to understand this point: financial intelligence, emotional intelligence, growth paradigm, and all those things, character building, and everything. That is where this begins to come in. Okay, and the good thing is that your resources start growing. Why? Because you start making contributions, and those contributions start bringing in rewards. So, and remember, when we talk about contribution and rewards, we are not just talking about money. We said you can get reward by you either you earn, you learn, or you impact. Do you remember? Now, this is the point for that. So you start. It's the point that the amount of money you earn, the income you earn, start growing. The impact you make start growing. All right. Then the rate at which you learn start growing. The learning at this point is that you are learning on the job. You are learning on the job. It's not just textbook learning. You are learning as you are. Then your network start expanding. You start getting to know people that matters, and people start getting to know you. So if you are at this phase of your life and your network is not expand, that's why we say, look, see, come on LinkedIn. We are not saying that you should come and be boasting. No, you need to start, because you need to start building your network. Now, by special grace of God, by the end of this month, we're going to be launching a program, an African Food Research and Innovation Conference. And if you're an African food related person, please watch out for those conferences. And the caliber of people we are inviting as speakers to those conferences. Well, now, when I shared with one of my friends, I was like, Nick, where do you get to know these guys? We are talking about the executive director of the Bank of Industry, the president of the One Foundation. We're talking about the deputy VC of a federal university in Nigeria. We are talking. So we are talking about like the people that are, and all these people, to be sincere, I've never met any of them one on one. I knew 100% on LinkedIn, and I reached out to them, and they were willing to come up. So I'm saying this to tell you, that's when you start expanding your network. Remember, your network is not just the people you know, it's the people you know and that knows you. So you want to make sure that the people you know that matters to your destiny actually knows you. And how can you do that? Is by consistently showing up. You need to, this is the point that you need to start getting people coming to your DM and start saying, look, we need someone to do something like this. Can you do it, or can you refer someone else? If you're in this phase of your life and nobody is coming, you are not known for anything specific. Nobody is coming to say, okay, I want to work with you, I want to partner with you, I want to volunteer with you, I want to do this with you. Then you are not making the most of your Kairos afternoon, because your network has to expand, your resources has to grow, and your obligations increases. family obligations, career execution, wealth creation, system management, expanding your influences and impact on people. So this is Kairos moment of your life, and you need to ask. So you need to ask yourself question: if I want to make the most of my life, which phase am I in? And the thing is that you cannot jump from your morning to afternoon. You have to go through morning. So guys, and the thing is that your morning depends on when you wake up. That's one good thing about morning. To some people, their morning starts from 6 a.m. To others, their morning starts from 4 a.m. To others, their morning starts from 2 a.m. Other people, their morning starts from 12 noon. But by 12 noon, they are still sleeping. What is morning? Morning is just the time that you wake. It's the time immediately after you wake up. That's your morning. Okay? So if you and that means if you've been sleeping, it doesn't mean whether it doesn't matter whether you are 50 or 30. If you have been sleeping, you have not gone through your morning. What you need to be doing at this point is to now begin to add speed so that you can quickly move from your morning time to your afternoon time. The fact that you are a graduate does not mean you're already in the afternoon. The fact that you are even working does not mean, because if you have not clarified your identity, you have not developed skill set that is tangible, that you're not. Holy Spirit, help me. Hope I'm not shouting big. Good. So I'm just trying to make us understand this. So it doesn't matter your age. It doesn't matter whatever phase of your life you are in. You must go through this process. Wake up, start your morning, then move to your afternoon time. So that's why I deliberately did not put the age. I did not say between age 1 to age 20 is your morning. No. Anytime you wake up, that's your morning. For some of us tonight is our morning. And if you want to make the most of your life, if you jump what you're supposed to do in the morning and you want to start in the afternoon, I think it was John Manson that said that some people lose their first hour in the morning and use the remaining part of the day trying to catch those hours they lost. So if you have not made use of your money and you have not gone back to work on that foundation, what you'll be doing for the rest of your life is cashing up what you have lost. And trust me, it's not going to end well. Okay? So, in your afternoon times, what's the danger of the afternoon time? Allowing your volume of income and obligations to fragment your focus. So, one of the danger of the afternoon time is because it's time for you to do things, there is temptation to do a lot of things that are not well coordinated. You are tempted to do a lot that are not well coordinated. You jump from here to that place. Now that is where our metaphor of digging when I was still preparing, that's when that idea came of digging a well comes in. A lot of us have not sat on something long enough for us to get to the water. And so you try this, it's not working. You jump to the other one, it's not working. You jump to in less than 3 years, you have started 3 businesses and none of them are working. You're not making this. No, it doesn't work that way. What you need to do in your afternoon time that's why you need to clarify your identity. Once the identity is clarified, once your PTB nexus is clarified, then pick something and dig the hole and bore and dig the well until you get water. It's not the first day that you get water. It's not the second. I have 23,000 followers on LinkedIn. I didn't get those 23,000 followers overnight. I joined LinkedIn in my 200 level. I joined LinkedIn in my 200 level, and down to I was as at 3 years ago. 200 level is no, sorry, not 200 level. I think it's 400 level. Towards when I was about after my IT, when I was about leaving. So I joined LinkedIn in my 400 level. That is in 2014. I did not become active on LinkedIn until 2016. But from 2016 to now, I have been consistent. 2016 to 2026, that's 10 years journey. 23,000 followers. So I didn't get a 23,000 followers online. And from the day one I stepped on LinkedIn, what was I doing for? Food. So I have consistently been building the brand around food and agriculture for good 10 years. So today, I'm not surprised when I get emails, message, DMs, calling for partnerships, calling to be part, because I've been doing it consistently for the past 10 years. I changed my LinkedIn profile from just a research to a research consultant, because I've earned the right to say that I can consult as far as food is concerned, because I have been doing it consistently for the past 10 years. I did not go off and come back. No, consistently for the past 10 years. So I know enough to consult for anything around food. So you don't just wake up in one day and then you look at someone put consultant on his own, this thing, okay, and you say, okay, you start putting consultant, and you have not even spent 1 year in that field. No, it's not done that way. You're not digging, you're digging a shallow well. To get the water, you need to do. So what you need to do at this point is be careful of being busy without direction. You need to, in your afternoon time, that's the period of your life that you will need to now start, how do I call it? What's this word that is not coming to my head? Holy Spirit. There's a word I'm looking for. If anybody can know, like bringing things together. What's the word? Can anybody help me to bring things together? Consolidate, that's what I'm looking for. Your afternoon time, you must, in the midst of your actions, in the midst of your peak production, in the midst of your improved productivity, you must learn to now start consolidating. I've talked about it, So raising leaders, scaling your influence, scaling your impact. That's when you start building systems, you start building whatever. So I'm using myself as an example. So that's what you do. Now, I'm not going to talk much about the nighttime because I don't have much to say about it. But from what we have been talking about, we already talk about that in the night. You're now full of wisdom. You now begin to mentor the next generation. You now begin to architecting your legacy. Begin to talk about what you'll be remembered for. Now, I discovered that one of the mistakes that some people make is that they use their afternoon time pursuing personal selfish gains, and then in their nighttime when they reach their night, they discover that all these things they are pursuing does not really matter. That is when they now start grabbing one day and start forming one foundation there. Also, at that point, they have lost touch of reality. That's why I'm of the school of thought that you don't wait until you are retired before you start making impact. You don't wait until you are retired before you start forming your legacy. You don't wait until even the Bible says so that if you wait for the weather before you do something, no. That's the reason. You start building your legacy, start making impact even in your afternoon time. That is the life worth living. So at the end of the day, you will not pursue yourself, forget your family, forget your friends, you focus on making money or whatever it is, or pursuing fame or whatever it is you think you're pursuing, and then when you come at night, you just only you and the money you have in your bank account, and you discover that all these things is vanity upon vanity. And then you now start beginning to say, okay, let me start creating legacy. Even people don't even say that you are making legacy at this point because they feel okay. So start giving back immediately. People may have different school of thought, but that's what a fulfilled life looks like to me. And from my own personal experience, I may not have made the whole money that I want to make in the world, but when I think about the number of people that have passed through GMP, or the number of people that are learning new things because of the platform we have created, I'm satisfied. And that also gets me going and make me to go to do what I want to do, right? So I don't want to say much about the night. Now, in terms of your resources, when it comes to sorry, if you what's time? Oh Jesus, okay, it's 11:01. Okay, so now in terms of the resources that you require, the resources that you need, this is how your depending on your kairos, this is how this quadrant here is very important because it helps you to know how to make the most of your life. In your morning time, you don't have a lot, you have a lot of time. You have a lot of time in your hands, but you don't have it. You have a lot of energy, but you don't have a lot of resources, and you don't have a lot of network, and you are developing your skill set. What does that mean? I remember I told you that nobody lacks something. What the implication of that is, in your morning, you then need to invest your energy and your time so that you start growing your resources and your network. Do you understand? You invest the two things that you have in your morning time is your energy and your time. You use that to now start growing your resources, building your network, and developing your skills. How do you do that? Now, you may not have money to pay for yourself to study abroad. For example, if you want to stay abroad, but you have time, but you should be able to have time and the energy to learn how to search for scholarship yourself, to learn how to carve a motivational statement, attend conferences and events that teaches how to. I'm giving an example. I'm not saying everybody must travel abroad. So you attend conferences that teaches how to do that. You look for free resources online, things that are done. That's why deliberately we are not charging for GMP, because the GMP is targeting at people that have time. We believe that you have time, you have energy, but you don't have enough resources to pay for the service that we want to render. So if you are in your morning time, you don't have time, you don't have energy, and you don't still have resources, and you don't have network, you're on your own. I don't know if you understand. So you must let your two most important assets in your morning time is your time and your energy. These are your two most important assets. So you must learn how to leverage on those two so that you can build resources, you can build network and developing skills. Again, I just give you an example. For example, you said, okay, I need money. That is the time to now start learning now. How can I make money? It's not necessarily the time to start making the money, but this is the time for you so that by the time you're moving from your morning to your afternoon, you are financially literate. You know how to build wealth. You know how to manage wealth. You know where the monies are, and stuff like that. So if you forget this and you start pursuing resources and network, or you start focusing, I don't have resources, I don't have network, and so I can't do anything with my life, you will lose. Are you learning how to make the most of your life? Please give me. I want to know that some persons are following me. So please give me type something in the group to make me understand that you're following. Okay, thank you, Juliet. Is it only Juliet that is here? Don't thumbs up. So type something. Okay, Peter is here. Isaac is here. Chioma is here. The boy is here. Thank you, guys. All right. Even though it's those people I'm speaking with today, I'm happy. Okay, thank you guys. I can see that you guys are here. So that's it. Then, as you move from your morning to your afternoon, you begin to have less time. But you still have significant energy. But this time around, you now begin to have resources and your network start expanding. Now, what do you do at this point? So at this point now, you will now use the expanding network to consolidate for your time. So, for example, if I'm the one that is running GMP, there is no way GMP can be effective as it is. GMP is effective as it is because by the special grace of God, God has given us great people. God has given us great people within our network that are working, that have owned this vision. They have owned it and they are working for free. You get? So because we are able to get those networks, that is why that's why I'm able to. So people still keep asking me, where do you have time to do all these things? I don't do most of them. I'm more of an idea person. I can bring an idea. I can tell you how idea can go. But in terms of execution, at this point of my time, I don't have time to be part of all the execution. I don't have time to be following people up again and say join classes so and say if you don't. No, I don't have that energy. But because I don't have that energy and I don't even have the time. But because we have been blessed with good network of people that have owned this vision and they have seen it as a way of also providing value. What's happening? We are not still able to keep it moving, and it's not a one-man show. So if you're at this point of your life, what do you do? Invest what you have, invest your growing network, invest your growing resources, invest your to apply the skills so that you can keep your resources going and you can make up for the time that you don't have. And of course, when you get to your night time, this is still so. If you want to screenshot this, and put it somewhere so that you can know what you need to do, please do it, because this is the very critical point. This is a very, very critical point. The most important slide in the entire district we are talking about. So that is how you make the most of your life. This is how you make the most of your life. How do you make the most of your life? Identify, number one, the season you are in, your Kairos season. Again, there are different Kairos seasons. There are seasons where you are working. There are seasons when you are employed. There are seasons where you are unemployed, you lose your job. There are seasons when you are single. These are all Kairos. There are seasons when you get married. There are seasons when you're in courtship. There are times when it's a service year. You can't serve more than once. You can't serve more than once in Nigeria. So there are different seasons of your life that are into these three framework, but I just criminalized it to these three because everybody has these three. But you need to identify what kind of seasons you are in, and then what phase are you in, and then begin to make the most of that season using the resources that you have in abundance so that you can make up for the resources that you don't have in abundance. That's how you make the most of your life. So you will not make the most of your life if you have wasted your morning, wasted your afternoon, then at night you no longer have time, and yet you don't have resources. You don't have time, and yes, you don't have skills. You don't have time, and yes, you don't, and yes, you don't have enough network. A weak net, you have a weak network. You will suffer. That's just the truth. Okay, so of course, this is just some fancy way of understanding what we are saying. If you're a science student, or if you're good with graphs, it's another representation of what we mean. So, in terms of energy and time, so in your morning time, you see. Can you guys see my? Okay, you can see it. So in your morning time, this is how your energy is high, and it comes down. It comes down. So in your afternoon, they all converge until it comes down to this. So energy and time decreases with your as within those three phases, while your wealth and influence does what? Increases. And they all meet in the afternoon. The afternoon is like it's like the window to it. So the thing is that if, for example, if you don't make use of your energy and time as at the time you have it, this your graph will not work, because you will still be your graph maybe will go most likely like this. You will still be in your money, you don't have money, and then you don't even go up here. Maybe you go around this in the afternoon, you don't still have enough money, and then in the night you don't have enough strength and energy to make money, and then you die poor and broke and leave no legacy. That's not the kind of life I'm praying for anyone to live. So for you to make the most of your life, this is how the graph of your life should look like. So you need to understand what phase of your life you are in at the moment. High energy, you make use of your energy at this point so that you can make your wealth at this point. Don't focus on wealth. If you focus on wealth at this point, it's not going to work. You are going to that's where you find yourself in get rich quick this thing. But I know people become wealthy, but nobody becomes wealthy overnight. Nobody does that. Even though you become, I don't need to start going. You've heard that about financial intelligence. I don't want to go into it. So that's how you make the most of your time. So invest your free energy to build wisdom, to build wealth, to build influence. How do you do that? Gain skills. How do you do that? Expand your network. How do you do that? Invest in personal branding. How do you do that? Attend conferences. Pay for those conferences where you can. If it is not free, request to go for free. That's what I do. There are some conferences that are not free. I talk to the organizers. I want to be part of this conference. I don't have money. Most of the time, they'll give me 20% discount. Give 50% discount. I go to those conferences. I get to know people. I get to meet people. When I need those people later on in my life, I call on them. Oh, I'm Nicholas. I met you at this social conference. Hey, Nicholas, yes, I remember you. Please, what do you need? Okay, I need it. Can you help me do this? That's how you build your life. That's how you build your network. That's why you build your assets, your resource. That's why you build your skills, and how you make the most of your life. We are already nearing the end of today's session. So success requires that you convert the ephemeral resources into enduring values. Now, the fundamental goal of life is not to hold on to time, which is impossible. You cannot hold on to time, but to actively transmute it into a higher order of asset before Chronos runs out. All right, before Chronos runs out. So, what does that mean? In stage 1, convert time to skills. Stage 2, convert skills to value. Stage 3, convert values to resources. Stage 4, convert resources to legacy. It's as simple as that. What did I say again? Convert time to what? To skills. Convert skills to what? To value. We talked about value. That's just contribution and reward. Then you convert value to what? To resources. And you convert resources to legacy. That's how to make the most of your life. So what do you have enough now? Time and energy, convert them to skills. Then in your afternoon, start learning how to convert those skills to value. Don't just get skills. I know we have given you guys access to courses on Coursera. I don't expect you to go there, and I'm not happy when you say I learned 50 skills on Coursera and there is no tangible skills that you are converting to value. That's not useful to us. That's not what we want. If it is one skills you want to pick, okay, I want to pick computer programming. I want to pick AI optimization. I want to pick customer service. I want to pick business consulting. I want to pick financial intelligence. I want to pick wealth creation. I want to just pick 1, 2, or 3, or just pick one and make sure that everything you are doing around that one, become an expert, build skills around that one, then begin to convert, because the next phase of this program is to help you convert those skills to value. Begin to convert those skills to value, then learn how to sell those values to people so you can get resources from those people, and then you now use that resources to build your legacy. And guess what? You can do this at any given time. You must not wait until So it is not like if you have been able to develop enough skills, reasonable skills in your 20, nobody is saying that you are still in your money. You are moving to afternoon. If you can do it in your 16 years, nobody is telling you it's not age related. There's no age restriction. It's just a matter of understanding, having this understanding on time, and then begin to convert them. So we say that aging is automatic, but alignment requires your strategy. So how do you align Chronos and Kairos? And again, I don't want to sound technical, but I can't help it. Now, how do you align Chronos and Kairos? These are 4 quadrants. Now, this place is high pressure, low maturity. Time will not permit us to. Maybe we'll explain it subsequently, because I really want to take time to explain this quadrant for you. So Chronos measures life, Kairos gives life your meaning. Chronos measures life, Kairos gives life meaning. So recognize your season and respond before the light changes. Morning does not last forever. Afternoon arrives faster than expected. Night eventually is come. For everyone must pass through these stages. How you make use of these stages actually depends on how effective you're going to make the most of your life. And that's the end of our session for tonight. I'll take questions if there are. Do we have questions tonight? Do you have questions tonight? If you have questions, please can you raise your hand? And if there are no questions, we'll say good night. But I hope that you have learned something tonight. That beyond just getting information, you're going to put this into practice and make the most of your life. Because I want in the next 10 years, when I see you, I want to be able to say, look, I need 1 billion naira to do a project, and I can call 10 of you to give me 100 million naira, and then 1 billion is there. That's what we're looking at. But it's far beyond money. But at least when we're looking for skill set, when we're looking for people that have built skills and all, we should be able to have them. Now this is the time to make the most of it. Okay. So if there are no questions, thank you, Juliet. No, I'm going to screenshot this and put it in my and frame it. So you said I should call you. I'll call you really. All right. Thank you so much for joining us for tonight. Again, we'll meet again in 2 weeks' time, and where we're going to still talk about maybe talk about today. What we just introduced is how to make the most of your life. Then maybe in 2 weeks' time, please come with. We're going to have a lot of questions. Come with a lot of questions. I would love us to do. I'm going to give us tasks to do before then. So I would love us to do. I want you to invest the next 2 weeks doing your TBP Nexus. Your BTB Nexus, so that when you do that very well, and then you can maybe in the process, I know you're going to have questions that you want to ask because it's going to be confusing. So we're going to use next week to deal with it. So that means your ticket to entering next week's section is that next 2 week section is that you have done at least your Nexus, and then we look at it together. So we'll try as much as possible to upload the videos as soon as possible when we can. I'll also share I'll share the PDF version of the presentation with you, so that you can go through it in your own time and then use it to develop your own. So thank you so much for your time. It's been good speaking with you, and have a very wonderful night rest.